Stop scrolling. This isn't gossip. This is the truth Ana de Armas never wanted to say out loud. One sentence from her ended all the rumors about Tom Cruise. No betrayal, no headlines, just a decision that broke something real. What pushed her to walk away from one of Hollywood's most powerful men? And why did this perfect connection collapse in silence? What Ana revealed will completely change how you see this breakup. Watch till the end. No one expected this moment, but it finally happened. After weeks of rumors, whispers, and endless speculation, Ana de Armas has finally broken her silence about her reported breakup with Hollywood icon Tom Cruise. For fans across the world, this wasn't just celebrity news. It was a mystery that refused to fade. Every headline, every blurry photo, and every insider quote led to the same burning question: what really happened between Ana de Armas and Tom Cruise? The story of Ana and Tom caught fire almost instantly. It didn't begin with a red carpet announcement or a public confirmation. Instead, it started quietly. Subtle sightings at exclusive events, private dinners away from flashing cameras, and brief moments that suggested something deeper than friendship. They were careful, almost intentional in their silence, and that only made the curiosity stronger. Fans analyzed every detail, their body language, their schedules, even their social media activity. For a while, the mystery only grew. Entertainment insiders hinted at a growing connection, while fans speculated about a secret romance unfolding behind closed doors. Neither Ana nor Tom confirmed anything publicly, choosing privacy over headlines. And in today's world, that silence spoke louder than words. Then, without warning, everything stopped. The quiet dinners disappeared. The rumored sightings came to an end. No shared appearances. No subtle hints. Just silence. And that silence triggered a storm of speculation across social media and entertainment news platforms. Suddenly, everyone had a theory. Some believed it was simply scheduling conflicts, two global stars struggling to find time in packed calendars. Others claimed the pressure of fame became too heavy, especially with the constant attention surrounding Tom Cruise's life. As days turned into weeks, the rumors only intensified. Fans debated whether the relationship ever truly existed or if it quietly ended before it could begin. Blogs and tabloids filled in the gaps with assumptions, but none of them had one thing: Ana's voice. Until now, in a recent moment that caught many off guard, Ana de Armas finally shared her side. She didn't offer drama or blame. Instead, her words were calm, thoughtful, and deeply personal. She spoke about how living under constant public attention can change relationships in ways people rarely see. She hinted at emotional pressure, at difficult choices, and at the reality of two lives moving in different directions. What surprised many wasn't just what she said, but how she said it. There was no anger, no bitterness, just honesty. Her words shifted the narrative from gossip to understanding, from rumors to reality. For fans who had been waiting for clarity, this wasn't the explosive reveal they expected, but it was something far more powerful. It was the truth. And in Hollywood, the truth is often the most shocking thing of all. To truly understand the breakup, we have to rewind to the beginning, before the rumors, before the silence, and before the headlines took over. Ana de Armas and Tom Cruise reportedly grew close while moving in the same elite Hollywood circles, where powerful connections often form away from the public eye. Both actors share a reputation for intense dedication to their craft, a strong desire for privacy, and a deep respect for the art of cinema. Those shared values became the foundation of their connection, according to insiders. What drew them together wasn't glamour or fame, but something far more personal. Long, thoughtful conversations replaced loud public appearances. Mutual admiration grew through discussions about acting, storytelling, and the emotional weight of their roles. They respected each other's journeys, Tom as a seasoned global superstar, and Ana as a rising force carving her place in Hollywood with confidence and grace. Their connection wasn't flashy. There were no red carpet debuts or public confirmations. Everything about it felt intentional and private. Quiet dinners, subtle interactions, moments that suggested something real was developing behind closed doors. And strangely enough, that secrecy made fans root for them even more. In a world obsessed with oversharing, their silence felt refreshing, almost romantic. But as strong as the connection appeared, reality slowly began to set in. When two massive careers collide, simplicity becomes impossible. Tom Cruise's life is famously intense. His world revolves around high-risk action films, physically demanding stunts, and a global schedule that rarely slows down. His commitment to his work is legendary, but it comes at a cost: constant travel, extreme discipline, and very little room for personal stillness. Ana de Armas, on the other hand, was entering a different phase of her journey. She was choosing emotionally rich, character-driven roles that required reflection, depth, and balance. Beyond her career, she was also focusing on personal growth, finding peace, protecting her mental space, and building a life that felt grounded amid the chaos of fame. At first, these differences may not have seemed like obstacles. In fact, they may have been part of the attraction. But over time, the contrast in lifestyles began to create pressure. Coordinating schedules became harder. Privacy became more fragile. And expectations, both personal and public, started to weigh heavily on the connection. What once felt effortless began to require difficult choices. Not because of a lack of care, but because of the realities of who they were and the lives they were living. As beautiful as their bond was, the pressure slowly began to show, quietly, subtly, and without drama. And sometimes, that's how relationships change. Not with an explosion, but with a slow realization that love, timing, and life don't always move in the same direction. In a recent interview, Ana de Armas finally addressed the situation, without ever directly naming Tom Cruise. Yet, despite avoiding names, her message was unmistakably clear. She chose her words carefully, speaking not from a place of anger or regret, but from reflection and honesty. Her focus wasn't on blame, but on love, timing, and the emotional weight that comes with living a life constantly observed by the public. Ana spoke openly about how relationships can change when two people, even with deep care for one another, begin moving in different directions. In her own words, she said, "Sometimes two people care deeply for each other, but their lives are moving in different directions. And love alone isn't always enough." That single sentence immediately resonated with audiences because it reflected a truth many people understand, whether famous or not. She went on to explain how the constant spotlight made everything more difficult. In a world where every public appearance becomes a headline and every absence sparks rumors, even the smallest moments lose their privacy. Every move was watched. Every silence was analyzed. What should have been personal moments turned into public discussion. For Ana, that pressure slowly began to take an emotional toll. Ana admitted that privacy is something she values deeply. For her, personal relationships need space to breathe, to grow without judgment or expectations from the outside world. When that privacy disappears, even the strongest connections can begin to feel fragile. She hinted that the relationship wasn't breaking because of conflict, but because it was being stretched beyond what felt healthy. What stood out most in her message was the absence of bitterness. There was no blame placed on anyone, no dramatic accusations, no shocking revelations. Instead, Ana described a mutual realization, one that came quietly and honestly. Continuing the relationship, she suggested, would have meant sacrificing important parts of themselves, and neither person wanted that. Her calm, respectful tone instantly shifted the public narrative. What had once been framed as gossip or speculation suddenly felt more mature and human. Fans who expected scandal were instead met with emotional clarity. Her words reminded everyone that not every breakup needs a villain, and not every ending is a failure. By speaking the way she did, Ana de Armas changed the conversation. She turned a headline into a lesson about self-respect, emotional boundaries, and the courage it takes to walk away when something no longer aligns with who you are becoming. In an industry known for drama, her quiet honesty became the most powerful statement of all. And sometimes, saying less says everything. So why didn't it work? According to sources close to the situation, the answer wasn't hidden in scandal or conflict. It was rooted in lifestyle differences and long-term priorities. At its core, the relationship faced a challenge many people encounter. Two individuals at different stages of life, wanting different things from the future. Tom Cruise lives life at full speed. His world is built around intense physical training, high-risk action stunts, and a non-stop global schedule. His commitment to filmmaking is legendary, often pushing his limits in ways few others would dare. That lifestyle demands constant movement, extreme discipline, and an almost total focus on work. In many ways, it defines who he is. Ana de Armas, however, is stepping into a very different chapter. She is entering a phase where balance matters more than chaos, and emotional depth matters more than adrenaline. Her career choices reflect that shift, selecting roles that explore vulnerability, identity, and human connection. Beyond acting, she has also been focusing on personal peace, self-awareness, and building a life that feels emotionally sustainable. At first, these differences may have seemed manageable, even complementary. But over time, the gap between their worlds became harder to ignore. Ana hinted that she didn't want to lose herself inside someone else's life, no matter how iconic, powerful, or inspiring that world might be. It wasn't a rejection of Tom, but a commitment to herself. That honesty struck a chord with fans. Many people recognized themselves in her words, those who have loved deeply but realized that staying would mean sacrificing their own identity, dreams, or inner peace. It's a difficult realization, and one that often comes quietly rather than dramatically. What made this situation different from typical Hollywood breakups was the absence of blame. There was no betrayal, no explosive fight, no shocking revelation. Just a mutual understanding that continuing down the same path would eventually lead to resentment or emotional loss. Sometimes the strongest decision isn't holding on, it's letting go before damage is done. And that's exactly what this moment represented. It was a choice made with maturity, respect, and emotional awareness. Rather than ending in chaos, the relationship concluded in clarity. Two people acknowledged their differences, accepted the reality of their lives, and chose honesty over illusion. In doing so, they avoided turning something meaningful into something painful. And perhaps that's why this story resonates so deeply. Because it reminds us that not every ending is a failure. Sometimes, it's simply a brave step towards staying true to who you are now. Both stars are moving forward, separately, but with grace and dignity. There are no public arguments, no subtle jabs, and no attempts to rewrite the past. Instead, there is acceptance. Ana de Armas has shifted her focus toward what lies ahead, channeling her energy into upcoming projects, challenging roles, and creative work that excites her on a deeper level. Away from the noise of constant speculation, she is rediscovering herself beyond the headlines. Those close to Ana describe her as more confident, grounded, and emotionally centered than ever before. She appears to be choosing projects that reflect who she is becoming, not just as an actress, but as a person. This phase of her journey feels intentional, driven by clarity rather than pressure. Rather than allowing the breakup to define her, Ana seems to be using it as a moment of reflection and growth. Tom Cruise, true to form, is also moving forward in the way the world expects. He has returned to work with the same intensity and discipline that have defined his career for decades. Massive productions are on the horizon, demanding stunts are being prepared, and boundaries in action cinema continue to be pushed. For Tom, work has always been more than a profession, it's a way of life. And once again, he is fully immersed in it. While fans may feel disappointed that this connection didn't last, Ana's message leaves behind something far more meaningful than heartbreak. It reminds us that love doesn't always fail in loud or dramatic ways. Sometimes, love succeeds in teaching us something important and then quietly steps aside. Not every relationship is meant to last forever, but that doesn't make it meaningless. Ana herself implied this when she shared a powerful thought. Some relationships teach you who you are, and that lesson stays with you forever. Those words linger because they speak to a universal truth. We don't always walk away from relationships empty-handed. Sometimes, we walk away stronger, wiser, and more connected to ourselves than before. And maybe that's the real story here. Not a scandal, not a shocking breakup, but a moment of growth, a moment of honesty, a moment of quiet strength in an industry that rarely celebrates any of those things. In the end, this isn't a story about losing love, it's about choosing authenticity. And for both Ana de Armas and Tom Cruise, that choice may shape their futures in ways we have yet to see.